John Francis. I love me some John Francis. So in the 70s, John Francis lived in Northern California. They had their first oil spill. John told me he got so upset about the oil spill, he decided he wasn't going to take any kind of motorized transport. He said he did that for like a week, and then you know when you do something really different and your friends and family kind of freak out? So he said, I was always getting in arguments about it, and trying to explain why I'm doing this, so he stopped talking. For 22 years, John walked across the US and Latin America to raise awareness about the environment, and he did it for 17 years without talking. He got his PhD at the University of Wisconsin without talking. Yes, think about it, because I can't do it for 5 minutes, okay? John said that by the time Exxon Valdez happened in 1989, he was the only PhD in the country who had done a PhD on oil spills. At this point, he's still walking. He's not walking, but he's talking, right? And he said he was somewhere here in New England working on a friend's boat. He got a call from some folks in DC who wanted to bring him down for an interview because they said, you got to help us come up with an oil spill policy because we don't have one. They were like, we'll send you a plane ticket. And John's like, I don't take the plane. They said, well, we'll send you a bus. I don't take the bus. The train. They were like, well, how are you going to get here for the interview? He said, I'll ride my bike. They were like, how long is that going to take? He said, a month. They waited. He took his bike. He got the job. He's one of our first architects of our early oil spill policy. John has an organization called Planet Walk. He's taken groups of people to Cuba and had satellite systems set up for school kids in Cuba and here so they can have conversations about sustainability. John told me that when he tried to find somebody to publish his story, he had to self-publish it himself. He told me that in the early 90s when National Geographic heard about it, somebody from the board came to him and said, we're going to tell a story about you. It seems like it would be a perfect story, right? This is when he was doing his walking and not talking. And in the end, the board member had to come back because he had taken it to the board who said basically, John's impression was they didn't want to do a story about a crazy black man. National Geographic also came around too. So he self-published the book not that long ago. National Geographic picked it up and decided to republish it. He's now one of their National Geographic explorers. They send him to China and everywhere else. The other thing I want to say about this is that Hollywood bought the rights to this story. When he told me this, I got very excited. Initially, he was telling me maybe Will Smith. I got really excited. And I was like, if Morgan Freeman plays your dad, I'm on set. Now it's Chiwetel Ejiofor, and then who knows who's going to step in to do this. And often when I say that to an audience, the audience will say, well, you know, Hollywood's going to mess it up because they always mess it up. And I say, when is the last time you have seen a movie about a black man walking across the US and Latin America for 22 years, 17 without talking, to raise awareness about the environment? Right? I don't care who's making the movie. I'm thinking about all the people, the kids, all the people who will come to see this movie, maybe for Will Smith or who's ever playing it. But what they're also going to see is a story about a black man who committed his whole life to the environment in a very particular way.